So we're actually going to speak about something that I literally cannot stand, that truly, truly gripes my bottom. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 11 and this is episode 12. And as I said, we're going to talk about something that really, really gripes my bottom, and that is misplaced anger. It has become, in these later years, a real point of contention for me. It just really bothers me because I see it. And it happens so much, and the people who do it, they just seem to just live in that space like it's okay. And trust me, it's not okay. It truly is not okay. So I'm going to say some things, as we go through this. If you're that person, you need to check your goddamn self. That's all there's to it. I mean, ain't no easy way around it. If you are a person who does the whole misplaced anger thing, but you check yourself. Anyway, we're going to talk about it, but let's go ahead and talk about these ladies. Okay, so Kandi and Eva actually sit down, and I'm about tired of this conversation. Okay, so Eva's doing this whole ding-dong Mary thing. She's like, I don't know, what was up with Porsha? I thought me and Porsha were friends, and then I just felt like she just kind of like went there and just kind of like threw me under the bus. Okay, all of that's cool. It's true. You thought you and Porsha were friends. Now you know you and Porsha are not really as good of friends as you thought you were. So that's it. It doesn't even require a conversation. Deal with the bitch accordingly. That's all you do. Kandi basically did not coddle her because that ain't really Kandi. Kandi came on through, and I think Kandi is truly a friend to Eva. I definitely don't believe that Porsha's a friend. Like I said last week, what was your intention, Porsha? What was your intention when you brought that mess up about Cynthia? You knew it wasn't going to make Cynthia feel good. You knew it was going to put Eva into a spot. And again, we talked about the difference between light shade, and literally talking about a bitch, which is what you were doing. Because again, you said it yourself. You thought you and Porsha were cool. You thought y'all were friends. And then she showed you that you're not. She double-crossed you, and she told the shit that you said. Kandi told her from the door, own your shade, own your shit, and stop fucking talking about people. Stop talking about people because you keep getting caught up in the same thing. You're running around, you're a little catty, and you be running around talking about folks, and the shit keeps coming back. This is the thing. I like Eva. You all know that. I've stated that from the door. Like Eva, been following her ever since America's Next Top Model when she was young. You're catty. You're catty. And you're a bitch that talks about people. That's all it is to it. Love you dearly. But you got busted in a position where you're talking about people. But what you have learned, or what you should have learned, because we already know it from, I've been here for 10, 11 years watching these women. Ain't none of these ladies to be trusted. None of them. They are not to be trusted. They're not friends with you like that. They don't hold water in a cup. Okay? They get paid to pour the water out of the cup. So all you got to do, Eva, stop fucking talking about people. Period. We don't have to have this conversation no more. We don't have to go and do this, and you don't have to sit and play like you don't. Stop fucking talking about people. And let's, see, my thing, I live by a rule. I live by this rule, and I have done it for many, many years. Anything I say out of my mouth, and I don't care who I say it in front of. See, I don't have to go and figure out what friend won't tell. I don't go through that. Anything I say out of my mouth, I will fucking say it again. Period. I'll say it. I'll stand in it. And if you want to fight, bitch, we can do that too. That's just how I live, though. I live that way. I'll say it. I ain't, And I do get very, very upset if a person lies on me. I get very upset because I'm very forthcoming. So, no, if I say something to you, no, I don't expect you to hold it because I don't even trust nobody to do all that. I don't think I trust anybody to hold a so-called secret or fuck that. If I said it to you, I'll say it to them. Trust me. So ain't no thing. I ain't putting no pressure on you. Say it if you want and don't think you catching me up in nothing if you do. Because I'll tell that bitch. Ain't no problem. I live that way. I don't have these problems. You'll never see me on film having this conversation that Eva's having. So, with that being said, reality TV, here I am, honey. Come and get me. Anyway, moving on. But I liked how Candy handled it. Girl, stop fucking talking about people when you won't have no problems. Nene sat down with Porsha, and they sat there and basically clowned Candy. It was a whole set. I know Candy, I said, I would love to be a fly on the wall when Candy, I know Candy's ass was sitting there with her mouth so tight, honey, like all these bitches. Porsha and Nene, because don't neither one of them really like Candy. As far as when I watch, I always get that. Porsha don't really care for Candy, and Nene doesn't really care for Candy. Nene never cared for Candy. From the door, I don't give a damn how many apologies they've made with each other, or how many amends they've made, or how many times they've come to see it correct. Nene don't like Candy. Nene don't like Candy, and I definitely think it's a bit of jealousy. I definitely think it's a bit of jealousy. On a couple different levels. There's definitely levels to that shit. But, it is what it is. And Porsha, you don't like Candy. You like her, but you don't like her. Yeah, y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Shout out to my girl Juice, honey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but they sat there and they talked about Candy and clown Candy and made fun of her. But now listen, I said if I would love to be a fly on the wall to see Candy's reaction when she first watched it, because that just would be entertaining to me to see her get upset. But, because I'm petty. Whatever. Don't judge me. But, Candy, you can't be mad because you have many scenes where you sit around and you clown Nene and you sit around and you clown Porsha with your people. Y'all, you and the Dawn Juan and Karma and all, y'all sit around, and your mama, y'all sit around and y'all clown these people. So, I mean, it is what it is. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and they gandered you this time. It was, girl, they were gathering you and Kiki and down. I was like, oh, they was dragging Miss Candy. A mess. Anyway, so, okay, so we're off to Tokyo. Now, as the weeks go on, I'm liking this Tanya more and more. I'm liking Tanya. Tanya, to me, seems really well-rounded. Really, she seems very well-traveled. I like how she handles herself real easy. She classy. The bitch got class. She actually has class, which is something we don't see a whole lot. We see a lot of bitches that pretend to have class, or they've read books about class, or they've watched other housewives shows and they pretend to have class. Catch those. And that kind of thing. But I think Miss Tanya actually has some class about her, and I kind of like it. Now, till she showed me something different, but I'm kind of liking Miss Tanya. Anyway, so I gotta say I felt really, really bad. I got really, really bad because I've actually thought this out since I've started doing a little bit more moving around, because I wasn't one who traveled a lot. But, in this last few years, I've made it my point to try to get out and move around more. And, come on, I'm 47 years old. It's time to move around and see some things and meet some people and all of that. So, definitely with that being said, I've told you all, I will be moving around a lot to see my people. So y'all just expect to see my ass somewhere in your cities, honey. I'm going to get to y'all, honey, so I can grab y'all around y'all necks and hug y'all. But that whole thing, I always kind of think about how would I handle if I don't get my luggage. That is like horrible. I think more about that than the actual fear of actually being on the plane, because I hate planes, but I'll fly. And Marlo got all the way to Tokyo, and none of her luggage made it. And knowing Marlo the way we know Marlo, I just was like, I know that had to ruin the whole trip for Marlo. So there'd be one of two things. Either, she's going to have a great time rebuying everything. It'll be a little aggravating, but she'll get to buy everything. But then, Marlo, we're talking about Tokyo. Marlo is a woman of a specific type of size. She's like a gorgeous Amazon. I don't know if just being in Tokyo, probably, I don't know. Ain't like being in New York, child. You ain't going to just find everything that you need, honey. But I said, okay, poor thing. And then maybe you will, just depending on where you at, I guess. But anyway, I said that's got to ruin the whole trip for her. And it did. It did pretty much for right now. She became very, very evil very, very fast. I was like, ooh, Marlo. So I felt real bad for her with that. Then we met this woman. Her name is Aya. And I was like, okay. She is basically a customs help. So kind of she's going to help with like translation and also showing the girls how to carry yourself in Tokyo because, again, their customs are a lot different than ours. And Eva actually told a little story about, when she was younger and she was modeling, she would be flying in and out of Tokyo a lot working. And at some point, she became kind of known, but known for the wrong reasons. They thought she was a damn prostitute, baby, and they done locked her up. I said, Lord have mercy. They done locked her up, baby. They said, you're a lady of the night. You come here, honey. You out here, honey. You ain't taking pictures. You selling pussy. Come on here, honey. So, but, you got Aya to actually show them different things to avoid that kind of stuff happening to them. So I said, that was smart. Tanya. I said, that was real smart. Or her and Eva together. And I told y'all that last week that I liked the Tanya-Eva mesh up. First things first, she told them, listen, being late, I ain't for it. That's one of the biggest things here. We believe in being on time. So please don't push me. I find it as a disrespect for you not to be on time. I said, okay. I said, girl, this is going to be interesting because these hoes ain't never on time. They even showed clips of them being 4 and 5 hours late for shit. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. It just doesn't make any sense. So, first things first, we get to this where they're having a little something to eat. And Eva goes into this thing. Said, if anybody has anything to get off their chest, let's do that now. Let's not ruin our trip later. Let's do this now. So Eva says, Porsha, I thought we were cool, this, that thing, and the other, and on and on and on. And Porsha was like, girl, we are cool. Ain't no shade, ain't no thing. Of course, she didn't own that bitch I was putting you on Front Street. She just was like, no, she didn't really own it. She kind of danced around. It was like, well, girl, I didn't really feel like I was doing that. But you did. You put her on Front Street. You did it for a reason. And it was, you threw the shade is what you did. You threw the shade, period. I ain't going to change on it. That's how I feel about it. The reason you did it, you were being a shady bitch. Now, were you wrong or were you right? There's some wrong in it and there's some right in it because no, she shouldn't be walking around. You claim to be these other ladies' friends. No, she shouldn't be talking about your friends. No, you don't want anything to come back and it be said, oh, it was said to Porsha and Porsha didn't say that. So yeah, there's a double side to it, but bitch, you were being shady. You were mad at Candy and you wanted somebody else to be miserable and that's why you fucking did it. But whatever. So they go back and forth and here we go with the same conversation. Well, no, I don't think I did. Girl, whatever. And then it was Eva versus everybody, honey. And everybody was like, girl, you do talk shit. Then Marlon said, girl, I even heard that you was talking about me like a cat, honey. And she's like, talking about you like a cat? She's like, and they said, girl, yeah, that's lower than talking about her like a dog, honey, out in the streets. She's like, oh, girl, bye. She didn't own it. She didn't own it. She brushed past it and Marlo just let it go. I was like, now, Eva, bitch, seriously? Come on now. Stop. That's ridiculous. So that was that. So then they go and Portia's like, I have something I want to say. Her and Nene get up. They get this little gong bell and she says, I want to teach you all something. It's a term here in Tokyo and it's ning ning shu. And they're like, what? And she's like, Ning Ning Shu. And they're like, well, what does that mean? And I hope I'm saying it right, guys, but it's Ning Ning Shu, which means I'm pregnant. Now, at this point, there was like some shock in the room. But the funny part was, this actually set a nice tone because they literally, everybody's gauntlets fell at that point. Everybody. Even Candy. All the gauntlets fell. Everybody was literally in that room. Everyone in that room was genuinely happy for Porsha. Everybody knows Porsha wants to be a mom and all of that stuff. I ain't real crazy about the girl at all. I don't care for her. But whenever I did find out she was pregnant, I don't believe in the relationship that she has. I don't believe it's going to work or any of that. But I am happy that she got her baby out of it. Because I do know from watching that she wants to be a mother. And I think that anybody who wants to be a mother, that God will bless you and allow you to do it. And you do a good job by all means. By all means. So, you know, hey, nothing like bringing a baby into the world and raising a little person. It's groovy. Well, I never brought one into the world, but I've raised two. It's groovy. So everybody was genuinely happy, even Candy. They really were. And I was like, that was nice. That was a nice scene. It was cool. Left you with a good feeling. So the next day, Candy actually gets a visit to her room from Eva. Earlier, before that, we saw Eva and her braids look so cute. She has her long blonde braids and they're all wrapped up in a ball on top of her head. It looks heavy, but it was real cute on her. She got a phone call from home. Her grandmother passed away not long ago, before this was filmed. And now her grandfather had actually had a heart attack. And he actually had a do not resuscitate order, but they messed up and they resuscitated him. So he was actually on life machines and all of this, and they didn't think he was going to make it. So her mother had called. It was just a mess. She ended up leaving her room. She goes down, it's early in the morning, she goes down and she talks to Candy. And Candy kind of went through with her, and it was so weird. I was like, oh my gosh, it was strange. Because I kind of felt Candy, because I kind of do this too. Candy didn't really know how to console Eva. She really didn't. She kind of, you can see the awkwardness in Candy. Some people are just good at that. Some people are not. I'm one of those people, when it comes to death, I don't come around. Like, I don't do, you know, I've done it in the past. I've gone to funerals for people, you know, for my friends. I feel like a friend of mine, her father passed, I went to the funeral. Her mother passed, I went to the funeral, and I was there for her. I don't do funerals. I just, it's not my thing. I have another friend. I've gone with friends of hers have passed. And then I had gotten in my period where I absolutely loved her mother and father. When her mother and father passed, I just couldn't do it. It was, I did everything else around it. I'm here for you for whatever you need. But I ain't going to no more funerals. It's just my thing. I had got to a place, I said, I'm not doing it anymore. This whole little death, it's not my thing. And I will not be attending another funeral. If I could help it, I'm not. I'm not even attending one for me. I've already told my mother, I don't want a funeral at all. When it's done and it's over, baby, throw the dirt in my face, take your money and hit it. I don't want it. I'm not attending another funeral. I didn't even attend the funeral for my grandmother, and you all know how I feel about my grandmother, baby. Back in March of 2018, I wasn't doing it. I did not go to the funeral for my grandmother. I said everything I had to say to my grandmother the day before she died and all my life before that. I just can't do it. And it's awkward to deal with people when it comes to death. You don't know what to say. You don't want to know and say, oh, I know how you feel and all of these things. And child, I felt the awkwardness in Candy. But she handled it, you know. And Eva, I don't know if Eva caught the awkwardness or not. She got what she needed, you know what I mean, at that time. And that was good. Then it was a lighter note when Candy was like, you know, something funny, girl. When it comes to death, I'm just kind of numb. You know, kind of numb when it comes to that. So, She said, but the one thing was, girl, I haven't gotten a chance to brush my teeth. That's why I was kind of sitting over here. I said, oh, girl, at least you did think enough of her not to put that dragon up in her face, honey. I said, oh, I laughed at that. I was like, well, that was good way to smooth things over, Candy. That was cool. But I cracked up. I said, that's awkward, honey. I had to tell her, girl, hold them tears for 1 minute. I can't be sitting up here with you with my mouth feeling heavy, honey. Yeah, I laughed at that, though. That was pretty funny. Then after that, a few hours later, it was time to go. They were going out for the day. Child, over half of these hoes was late for the bus. And there was only a few girls on the bus. It was like maybe 3 girls there. Honey, I was like, let's go. They were like, oh, no, please don't leave. She said, let's go. I said, all right, Miss Aya, honey, you're going to be fired, bitch. But she was correct, because she told you. She warned you last night. She warned you. I was like, all right, but she didn't leave anybody. And they took their good old time. It was about 30 minutes. Late as hell. And then when they came, because the last ones was Nene, Marlo. Marlo was the absolute last one. Marlo and Ronnie's wife. I said, girl, here we go with you, honey. I always want to call her Shamia. Her name is not Shamia, it's Shamara. Yeah, Shamara. Whatever, Ronnie's wife, child. But they were the last ones. And I just felt bad for that damn Marlo. Marlo got on that bus, honey. But the thing was, their attitudes were so nasty. Like Marlo, it was really Marlo and Nene. They didn't give a fuck about the fact that they were late. They were rude and very dismissive and just didn't care. They did not care. I was like, child, that whole unbothered thing, that's trifling and tacky and petty and very, very immature. Marlo did touch on the fact her feelings were hurt that nobody had reached out to her. And on one hand, I understood it. And on another, I was like, well, Marlo, who did you think you were with? Who did you think you were with? I mean, you know these ladies. Quit playing. But, yeah, she was real pissed off about nobody. Nobody called and said nothing. Do you need some deodorant or anything? Somebody could have called her. That's just tacky. But, you know, again, you know who you're dealing with. Anyway, so they go on, they move on, and they went to a temple, and they all prayed for Eva and her family and all of that, and that was good. And then they end up going to lunch, and this is when the situation takes place. There's a conversation starts up. Tanya actually goes ahead and she confirms that she is not legally married. She's not legally married. And I got understanding of that earlier on, but for whatever reason, they still had questions. She cleared up all the questions. No, he and I are not legally married, but I know he's my forever and he knows I'm his forever, and that's it. And I was like, cool, you know. So then the next thing I know, Nene was down there and she was throwing out unnecessary shady little comments. She was doing it. She was doing this shit. She had done it when they were down at the temple, and, you know, there was like, they did these little fortunes and that, and she's like something about, you may not even marry him, you may end up marrying somebody. She keeps throwing out these little daggers at Tanya. I said, now here we go again. This is another situation. I'm seeing this. I've been in this situation before. I can't get with the friend who, when shit is not going right in your life, you have a person who you feel like you can kind of beat up on. That is wrong. That is wrong. And it's a misplaced anger situation, because what we found out on the bus is that Nene is fucking mad at Greg. She's mad at Greg. She's pissed off. She's caught that whole thing of taking care of Greg and Greg being grouchy and all of that. But guess what? Bitch, that has nothing to do with Tanya. That has not a goddamn thing to do with Tanya. And now it's like every time Tanya's around, you're just going hard at Tanya. And it's always for no reason. You brought Tanya into the group. And I'm just like, she uses Tanya like she's her whipping dog. You know, I was like, and that's exactly what this is. I've been down this road. I know what this looks like, and I don't fucking like it. Things are not right with you, so you find a friend that you either find them weak, or you don't value their friendship for real, and you throw all your shit at them, because Nene knows she can't give Greg all that bullshit. That anger that she's feeling and how she wants to lash out. She can't lash out at Greg Leaks like that. You know, last time her and Greg Leaks did like this, there was a whole motherfucking divorce that took place. He not the one for that bullshit, and she can't do it at home, so she's throwing it at Tanya. And Tanya tried to address it and be classy about it. Said, well, no, Nene, you know, I don't know. I thought everything was fine. I apologize to you, you know, and you're back here like hurting my feelings or saying things to hurt my feelings, and I don't understand why this, that, and she was so dismissive and all of that. That conversation that took place at that table, I don't know how Tanya's going to handle it, but I can tell you, James Colwell, there would be no friendship between Nene and James at all. You actually went out, you stepped out to say, okay, in the friendship, this is kind of a problem. You've been doing this and this is kind of a problem. And that bitch didn't even want to entertain it. It was like, fuck you, bitch, give me 50 feet. I don't give a damn about Paul. This, that, all that shit she was saying. There would be nothing else to talk about. There would be nothing that Nene and I would talk about. I mean, if you have that conversation and there is a misplaced anger situation going on, but the other person that's doing the misuse ain't even open and they get even nastier, what do you do from there? You cut that bitch's throat. That's what you do. You let that bitch have it. And I was like, there was no need for Tanya to try to go back and forth, definitely with the position that you playing on here. Ain't no need to get embarrassed on camera, because they always going to give Nene more camera time. So ain't no need to do it. But I tell you what I would do. I would give her a good fucking letting alone. That bitch would not be a friend of mine. And guess what, Tanya? You will win, because the bitch ain't got no friends. She ain't got no friends, because this is the type of shit that Nene does. This is part of her personality. She has an envious, better than, made up better than, because she know better. When Nene get with herself and sit and look in the mirror, she know better than that shit. She know better than that shit. She know who she is, she know where she came from, and she know who she is currently. You know, I said, but that's horrible. I think it's terrible. She treating Tanya like a beanbag, and you're really mad at Greg, bitch. Go over there and fuck with Greg and see what it gets you. I don't know, did y'all see that? Like I saw that? Leave it in the comments and let me know what you think. And on that, I'm out of here, and I will see you all next week. And remember, if you're a person that does that misplaced anger shit, you need to check yourself. You need to check yourself, because this shit ain't cute. Not at all.